Alright, so welcome to the live duel. This is actually the first time I've done a live duel on this channel. Actually, the first time I've recorded this and tried to edit it into something nice. So hopefully it turned out okay. We're just finishing up, shuffling up each other's decks right now and cutting. Unfortunately, my opponent doesn't have a playmat. I thought that was kind of weird, but I guess he just forgot it at home. But regardless, he's just going to play on the table. So yeah, we're just going to start. And I just look at my hand real quick here before I make any plays. And so to start, I am going to activate Dragonic Diagram. I'm just going to put it onto the field, and then I'm going to go ahead and normal summon the Soul Eating Oviraptor and use its effect, and it goes through. So I search out a Baby Ceratosaurus from my deck. I'm going to put that back into my hand. Then I'm going to use Dragonic Diagram's effect to destroy the Baby Ceratosaurus in my hand, grab the True King Lithosogem, use the Baby Ceratosaurus effect in the graveyard to special summon another copy from my deck. Then I'm going to use Soul Eating Oviraptor's effect to pop the baby on the field to special summon the baby in my graveyard. So the baby in my graveyard's effect is going to activate, and it's going to summon me the last copy of Baby Ceratosaurus from my deck. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the True King Lithosogem effect, destroy the two babies on the field, special summon the Lithosogem, banish 3 from my opponent's extra deck. I banish the Soldier of Chaos, the Access Code Talker, and the Nightmare Unicorn. Just cards that would potentially help him going second to OTK me if he can play through what I'm about to do. So yeah, just banish 3 cards. It's not super relevant. So now I'm going to use the Baby Ceratosaurus effects in my graveyard since I destroyed both of them. I have to explain that to my opponent real quick. Then I special summon the Petite Pteranodon and the Animadorned Archosaur. So they both hit the board at the same time, and then Animadorned Archosaur is going to trigger and pop the Petite Pteranodon. And search me the Caligo Clawcrow, and then Petite Pteranodon, since it was destroyed by a card effect, is going to trigger as well. And special summon out Miscellaneousaurus. Now here I actually do make a mistake, I believe. Yeah, so I was just thinking here for a little bit. My opponent, I left this little edit in here because I thought it was funny. My opponent stops to read Misk, and I know that's a pretty big mean. So yeah, I just thought it was funny. So yeah, I linked those two off, and I actually do make a mistake, and I am going to end up taking it back here. My opponent is gracious enough to let me take it back, but I should have linked off the Lithosogem instead of one of the level 4s that I just linked off. So yeah, I go ahead and summon the Caligo Clawcrow because I can do that because I do have the Anaconda on the board, which is a dark monster. And I use Misk's effect to banish itself and another dinosaur from my graveyard. And this is where I realized the mistake that I made. So I asked my opponent if I can take the Lithosogem off the board, put it into the graveyard in replacement for the Soul Eating Oviraptor as like a replacement for the link material. I know that's not very good etiquette, and I'm sorry about that. But it was just a mistake, and I haven't been playing too much live games right now with the actual cards because of, well, you know what. It's been kind of cramping our style in terms of physical events. So this isn't something that I do super often anymore. So anyways, I synchro summon into a Cloud Castle, and I use Cloud Castle's effect to resurrect the True King Lithosogem from my grave, and my opponent stops to read the Cloud Castle real quick because, you know, he thought it was interesting. He doesn't really see that card too often. All right, and then I go ahead and overlay into the True King of all Calamities. At this point, I activate the Anaconda effect to pay 2,000 and fusion summon the Red Eyes Dragoon from my extra deck using its effect. So that thing is going to hit the board. I have 3 cards left in my hand, and I'm going to pass the turn over to my opponent, and he's going to draw for turn. In standby phase, I'm going to activate True King of all Calamities, and it is going to go through. So now my opponent can't use any of the effects on the field or in his hand. So he's going to set one and activate the Dark Magical Circle, which I am going to respond to that using Ash. And he accidentally puts it into the graveyard. He's going to put it back because Ash does not destroy. And Dark Magical Circle is a continuous. So he's going to set one. I believe that's the Magician Rod that he sets. And there's not much he can do here because Calamities is quite a beast of a card that just kind of stops him from playing. So it's going to be my turn again. And I'm going to use the Dragoon to pop the Magician's Rod, and he's going to take 1600 damage from that. And actually after that point, my opponent is just going to scoop it up, and it is going to be the end of game 1. Right. So after a brief siding, we are going to get into game number 2. And so my opponent did choose to go first this game, so he's going to actually be able to play this time. So he's going to activate the Magician's Rod to add the Dark Magic Circle from his deck to his hand. So he's going to activate the Dark Magical Circle now, Excavate 3. I read that card real quick, and then he's going to add the Dark Magician to his hand. He's going to special summon the Apprentice Illusion Magician by discarding the Dark Magician and search out the other copy of Dark Magician. He's just going to add to his hand. Then he's going to special summon the other Apprentice Illusion, add the other Dark Magician to his hand. And it looks like he's going to link off the Rod and the Apprentice Illusion Magician into the Verte Anaconda. At this point, he's going to use Soul Servant now to find the Eternal Soul from his deck. Then he's going to banish it from the graveyard and draw 2, I believe he did. Then he's going to pay 2,000 life points with the Anaconda effect to send the Red Eyes Fusion along with its materials to the graveyard to bring out his own copy of Dragoon. He's going to set one more. And I believe, yeah, he does pass the turn over to me. So I'm going to start my turn with activating a card I sided into my deck, which is Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, just to bait the negate from his Red Eyes Dragoon. So that's what he's going to do, which is fine because I have some follow-up plays. So I'm going to activate Diagram. I somehow drew Diagram both times, even though it's just a one-of in my deck. So I'm going to use this effect to destroy the Baby Ceratosaurus in my hand, add Overraptor from my, not Overraptor, Lithos the gem from my deck to my hand, and I'm going to special summon the Overraptor. He's reading the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. I really like that card in this deck because it can actually destroy Baby Ceratosaurus and get you a level 9 Kaiju, so you can go into True King. Anyway, so he's going to, I'm going to use the effect of Overraptor because I special summoned it off of the Baby Ceratosaurus. So I'm going to add one from my deck to my hand. I think I was explaining something to my opponent right now. So yeah, I'm just going to take the time to add it to my hand. And I still haven't used my normal summon yet. So I'm going to add that, put that in my hand, and then he's reading it still. And I'm going to normal summon the Baby Ceratosaurus. Then I'm now going to use Solding Overraptor's effect to pop the Baby Ceratosaurus on the field, special summon the other Baby Ceratosaurus, and then use the Baby Ceratosaurus Engrave to fish me out the other Baby Ceratosaurus in my deck, which I'm now going to use the True King Lithosogem to pop both of them and special summon the Lithosogem, as well as banish 3 from my opponent's extra deck. So it's going to hit the board. I believe at this point my opponent does try to interrupt me a little bit by activating the Eternal Soul. I might be wrong. But yeah, he's going to flip that up, activate that, special summon the Dark Magician from his graveyard. And then he can now banish something on the field. He's going to banish the Lithosogem, but it doesn't really matter because Lithosogem is still going to get its effect. So I'm going to banish Axis Code Talker, just like the same things that I'm going to banish. I know I'm going to be able to OTK my opponent this turn, so I don't really care too much about what I banish, because he's not going to get the chance to have another turn. So now I'm going to use the Baby's effect. Special Summon Petite, and Special Summon Animadorned Archosaur, just like the last time. I'm going to use the Archosaur's effect to pop the Petite Pteranodon on the field. And I'm going to grab the double evolution pill this time because we're going for game here. So he's reading the Archosaur. So Petite Pteranodon is going to activate and special summon out the Miscellaneousaurus from my deck. So now I'm just checking out my graveyard, checking out my hand, make sure I have what I need to banish for the double Evo pill. I was asking how much attack that thing was at. I believe it was at 4,000. And it had already used up its negate. So I actually link off the Animadorn, just go into Link Rebo. Not like really a super meaningful play, I just do it just to get more stuff in the graveyard before I go for the Tyranno. And then I'm going to overlay into the Dugaris, the Timeless, number 60, which is going to be used on Tyranno if all goes well here. So I'm just reading Apprentice Illusion Magician, make sure it doesn't do anything funny here that's going to stop me from OTKing him just before I make my final plays. So he's reading Dugaris just to see what it does, because I don't think he'd ever seen it before. So yeah, I just make sure Apprentice Illusion Magician isn't going to screw me over, because I know that thing can give attack to Dark Magician monsters. So I now go ahead and activate Double Evo Pill, banishing the Fire True King that was in my hand off the start, and I also banish the Petite Pteranodon from my graveyard. So banish one non-dinosaur and one dinosaur monster, and now I summon the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno from my deck. And yeah, now I detach 2 from Dugaris and use its effect to double up Ultimate Conductor Tyranno's attack, so it's now at 7,000. And I swing over the Apprentice Illusion, and he's going to take 5,000 from that exchange. And then I go ahead and finish him off by swinging over the Verte Anaconda, reducing him to 0. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the game and the end of the match. This was a fun game, at least for me. I mean, I respect my opponent. He was just playing Dark Magicians, is a pretty casual strategy. Not to say this deck is super competitive either, but it's, yeah, I mean, it's a fun game. He was a little bit nervous. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I did put quite a lot of work into editing this one, and hopefully next time I try and do one of these, it'll go a little bit smoother and quicker. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and with that, I'm just going to leave you with the same way I always leave you guys, with a peace out and have a nice day. Thanks again for watching. Goodbye.